And welcome back to Racing Today, where the spirit of South African horse racing lives. At the beginning of a brand new week, and the hopes and dreams of horse enthusiasts the world over is preparing for an impressive event. Now, one of the interesting finds I've come to learn about the King's Plate is the photography prize, as well as the non-fictional piece of writing. But right now, let's meet photographer par excellence and social entrepreneur Stills by Tom to give us a few pointers. Welcome to the studio. It's such an honor to have you here. Let's start a bit on where your journey with photography began.
So my journey with photography began about 7 years ago when I was, I'll say, all over the show. I was doing multiple stuff. I was doing videos, just a tiny bit of photography, event marketing, flyers, websites, until I decided to just take a pause and just focus on one thing. And it's just been an amazing 7 years.
Okay, cool. What made you kind of say, okay, I can't do everything. Let me just focus on one? Were you overwhelmed? Are you feeling like you're not good at everything, or?
Yeah, you know, when your phone rings and you don't know if it's your friends calling you out to go out clubbing or if it's someone whose number you took last night. But at least now I know when my phone rings, it's, hi, can you please request your photography services? So I was quite overwhelmed, and I just felt there was an opportunity to actually explore and just make something of it.
Okay, let's talk about the type of work that you do. Let's go deeper into that. You are officially a photographer. That's where we leave it. We leave videographer out. We leave everything else. What type of photography do you do?
When I started, it was literally anything that one can do with a camera. But now I'm just more focused on studio and events.
Okay, let's talk about the difference between shooting in a studio and at events, right? Because events are kind of chaotic. Yeah. I mean, unless we're stalking you for an image that we have to fight you for to get the next day.
All the same day.
All the same day.
Or before it's even taken. It gets that
sometimes you really have to. But, you know, just the difference of shooting in a studio, it's a different environment versus shooting at an event. What do you look out for? How do you treat the different spaces?
What I love more about studios, it's a more controlled environment. You're in control of quite a lot of aspects, lighting. You can prepare as much as you'd like to. You can, you know, have a concept in place. So there's more thought processes going into the studio shoots than events. With events, you really have to be on your feet.
Right.
Because it literally just takes one good picture, takes one good moment to just make that day worthwhile.
Yeah.
So with events, you really have to be on your toes and be ready for anything and make sure that your settings are right.
100%. Do you enjoy events or studio?
I love studio. Petrol is quite expensive now, so if I don't have to travel to you guys, I'm bored. But I love events because I love meeting people. You know, you never know what you're faced with that day. And, you know, getting home and knowing that you at least have one perfect image, you know, makes it all worthwhile.
It's absolutely insane. Nico, you're used to having kind of cameras in your face at great events, you know? For people capturing those moments, do you enjoy being captured, or do you just...
No, I enjoy being captured when I don't know about it.
Got
and I'm interested to hear what Tom says, because I find it very frustrating to have to go to a photo shoot because it takes so long, and the patience that you have. I mean, you've got to have patience. The patience that you have to have in order to say, move here and stand here. But you can understand that because the people that photos have been taken of want their photo to be
absolutely amazing,
to be just great. You know, when you talk about wedding photos, for example, you only get one chance at those wedding photos, and you've got to provide the best photos you can. But I find it extremely frustrating, and I don't know how they do it. But you've got to be in the right place. But that's why I say the ad hoc type of photograph at an event you're talking about, where you capture the moments and that people are having, I find those photographs to be the best.
I always enjoy actually seeing those moments that are captured, even in of yourself, where you're like, when did this even happen? What was going on? 100%.
You know, you weren't standing there, and you weren't, and those are the best for me. They turn out to be the best, the impromptu photos.
And Tom, tell me, when you have a client like Nico who doesn't like being photographed, and you are in studio with them, and they kind of just don't enjoy the process, or they're a bit nervous, how do you deal with them, and how do you advise other photographers to kind of deal with them?
You really have to be good with people, and knowing that literally everybody that steps into your space is a different person, and you never know what to expect until the show is on. And yeah, it becomes fun sometimes, because then you are learning more about people.
Yes.
And you're learning more about yeah, there are weak points, if I should call it that, but also just making them feel comfortable in that same space to just, end up getting that one perfect photo. So, yeah, I really do enjoy meeting new people and just learning more about them and, getting to push them to their limits.
And tell me, have you photographed any animals?
Yes.
I mean, we see all these polo shoots, horses, girls, guys, all these things. Which animals have you worked with, and how do you deal with that? You can't speak to an animal. You can't tell it what to do.
Right. So
how do you work with that?
You have to be really patient with animals, because if you're looking for the shot you're looking for, it's not gonna, like you said, you're not gonna tell it to do that. So you just go out there and you just get what you can, and hopefully you'll get a lion in action. So you just hope for the best when you're in the bush.
Okay, so on this show, we're all about horses. We love horses. We celebrate horses. We talk about horses 24/7. Have you done any horse-related direct work without us humans around? Yeah.
I'm not sure how to answer that one, but I've attended quite a lot of horse racing events.
Yes.
And I have captured them in action.
Yes,
I think I've done quite a lot of Durban July.
Yes.
And a lot of polo events as well.
You got the Durban bag.
Yeah, I think so.
You do have the Durban bag.
Bag is relative, but I think, yeah, we've captured quite some good moments.
Yes, and what are some of those favorite moments that you've kind of captured at these horse racing events? They're quite fun, right?
They're quite fun.
Yeah.
You see, for me, it's about the outfits, it's about the lifestyle, it's about how people just come out and just be in their worst behavior and best behavior, and just be jolly and happy.
I'll tell you something quickly about horse racing and photography, is that there are specific equine photographers, because you're talking now about the stallions that go to stud, the horses that produce the babies.
Yes.
They have to be photographed in such a way that it appeals to people in order to send their mares to that stallion. They have to be photographed exactly so that they show their strength and bruteness.
Like a Men's Health cover.
That's right. They have to stand in a correct way. They have to take them from side on, from the back, from the front, from the from both sides, so you can see what horse you want to be the father of your next baby horse, and that it costs a lot of money.
Would you do that? Did you hear it costs a lot of money?
I don't
Would
think
you do
so.
that?
I'd rather shoot.
You want to go to some of these stud farms and take photos of these wonderful looking horses.
Hectic,
but remember, they're not compliant, as he was saying.
Yes.
You can't tell them. And if they're not in the mood, they're
not in the mood, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You have to come back another day.
Sure. Tom, you've obviously done amazing work. You probably ticked off a lot of things on your list, as a photographer, all your goals. But what is the one thing you're still yet to do that you cannot wait to tick off your checklist?
I haven't shot you in studio. Number one, but I think I just wanna travel a bit.
Yes,
explore more faces, meet more faces, different countries, different cities. And I feel like that's something that I actually owe to myself.
Okay, well, given the opportunity, and you say an artist, a big one, said, come with me on tour, let's rock, you'll be my photographer, would you leave everything behind and go?
If the bag is good, definitely. Look, I've got quite strong holds in South Africa.
Yes.
I feel like I've met so many amazing people, and I don't think I'd want to leave them. Most have just moved from clients to family.
Yes, of course.
So I've got strong ties with them. So it would really, really have to be worth it for me to just be on the road throughout.
Sure. So I've heard a lot of, photographers say you can have a camera, but you really don't know how to use it. It's not about the tool, but you have the eye. So how do you use your eye? In fact, how do you even get to training yourself to use your eye?
It's a continuous journey. I look at photos I took last week, and I'm trying to find ways of how I can improve them. So as a photographer, it's always a continuous journey of learning.
Yeah.
Because these young kids are also coming with some
in
strong cheese.
Yeah.
And they're crazy. They're doing some crazy good stuff.
Right.
So it's about, staying top of your game and learning new stuff, and just also being consistent in your work.
Yes.
And just taking one step forward a day, and it really puts you forward.
And tell me, who's that one photographer that just puts that heat on you and keeps you on your toes?
There's a lady called Tamara Williams. She
Yes.
does mainly beauty shots.
Yeah.
And I think her work is amazing.
Nobody does it like her.
I don't think nobody does it like her.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned a lady, so you don't get into trouble with all the other faves that we have.
Of course.
Sure. So after the break, I actually want to talk to you about the King's Plate. We'll see, though. But what an inspiring session. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from Tom after the break. We wrap up the show in true Racing Today fashion. I'll see you guys after this. And a warm welcome back to Racing Today, where we inspire new and old to get into the spirit of horse racing Mzansi style. We've been having quite an interesting conversation with Nico as well as Tom, and we're talking about the upcoming race meet in Cape Town, where the blue and white is the theme of this historical gathering. We also have studio and photographer Stills by Tom with us. So, Tom, there is this photography competition that's happening at the King's Plate next year. So, you know, I think professionals and amateurs possibly will enter. Do you have any tips that you could give or advice that you could give everybody entering this competition?
Just be prepared, just get your shutter speed quite high, because I think those horses are quite fast. So just be prepared. If you're shooting the horses, just get a very get an action lens that will be able to literally zoom into even as much as the horse's eye. And if you're shooting the lifestyles, just get your lighting right, just get your correct lens, that will always help you to be ready for any given moment. If it's close, whether it's far, just always be ready for any shot, because literally it takes one photo, like we all said, that will actually just make a Loot Love happy.
100. Why am I in it? I'm playing. So, speaking of preparation, when you were much younger, obviously, you were trying different things. There was a lot happening. And I'm sure in all of that preparation, you sometimes made really big mistakes, and some of them were probably really costly. So let's talk about some of maybe the biggest mistakes you made and what you learned from those.
Jeez, biggest mistake.
Oh, greatest regret.
Greatest regret. Jeez, I don't have many of those.
Just one.
I think it would be yes, this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Not being familiar with who I was shooting that day.
Cool.
And I am there sitting close to them, and I mentioned, we were just on our way to fetch the client in the car.
Yeah.
And start taking photos as they were coming in.
Right.
This is an international soccer player.
Got you.
And on our way out, we just took a small detour, but I didn't realize the soccer player was actually already inside.
Oh, no.
So now I ask, hey, are we still going to fetch so-and-so? And they're just sitting next to me. And someone said, oh, there he is. And I knew I messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you do after that? What did he say? Oh, stress.
I think everyone just had to turn a blind eye. So now I just learn, if they say you are photographing Nico, I'll make sure I Google him.
Yeah.
All angles so that I can even recognize him.
Oh, man, you know what? It happens sometimes. And maybe you were just supposed to humble him in that moment. Who knows? Nico, to those attending this event, what advice would you give them about being captured?
Well, I think, again, you've got to dress part of the theme. You don't want to look like you underdressed, because when you go to the King's Plate, you need to be dressed in the right colours.
100%.
And you need to look the part.
Yes.
So, it's important for everyone to groom themselves. I always say, if you find a photograph of yourself somewhere that you don't know was taken, or we spoke about earlier on,
you
don't want to have regrets about what you look like on the day. So just make sure you look the part. In terms of the horses, it's fantastic filming horses. Photography and horses go back a long way, because when the horses come down to the line, we call it a photo finish, because you need a photo to determine who won the race, because it's so close. So those shutter speeds are really, really fast, and you need quick shots to determine who's the winner, because punters that have put money on a horse want to know who won the race, and quickly.
Exactly.
And quickly, yeah.
And Tom, where can we find you? Instagram, all those social media handles?
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
You're on TikTok?
Jeez, I had
Proud
to be.
of you.
I had to be.
Yeah.
She's a big TikTok girl, because she keeps on saying to me, you need to be on TikTok.
Please be.
Yeah, honestly, you have to keep up. You really do.
Please follow Oskido and just try to learn a thing or two from him.
Oskido?
Yeah, Oskido, I believe he's crazy.
Okay.
Please give us your handles, though, Tom. It's your moment.
It's Stills by Tom on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter.
Yeah.
And www.stillsbytom.co.za on the website.
I absolutely love it. And always remember to credit the photographer. What a lovely time we've had here on Racing Today. Thank you so much, Nico. Thank you so much, Tom. We'll see you tomorrow. And please do share all your horse stories, wins, losses, and learnings with us. But from the King Loot that you all love, good night.